has happened.
Okay, let's see. Now I'm going to try and tell it as best as I can. Um, and I want you to know nobody has heard this before. I can't discuss this because it's personal. It's really requires this group, okay, that I share this with. Okay. All right, where do I start? I start with the fact that I'm 83 years old. I've had Medicare since I'm 65. Anyway, I'm going to start with telling you that somehow my Medicare got a little screwed up along the way when I thought I was getting a secondary policy. As it turned out, I got a replacement policy, and my Medicare, I'm walking around without Medicare for about a year and a half, and I don't even know it. Why? Because I'm not one to go to doctors. I feel fine. I really kind of pride myself on the fact that I'm healthy, that I feel great. I have energy. I'm energetic. I've never really had anything to speak of that really required a doctor. And if I do go to a doctor, it's not that I neglect myself, but I'm really not that oriented in that way, going to doctors. Well, anyway, I did go to a doctor for something small, at least, it was small. It was, I like this sleeping medication that I get, and I take it in such small quantities, and I cut it in half. And so it lasts for a very long time. And so I had to go back to the doctor because I needed more. I wanted more. So I go to the doctor's, get the prescription. She takes a cardiogram, and she says, I think you ought to go for an echocardiogram. All right, I'll go for an echocardiogram. I go for the cardiogram, and the doctor said to me, you need a heart valve replacement. She says, you have aortic stenosis. And if you had any symptoms, which I didn't have any symptoms, I'm symptom free, I'm asymptomatic, I'm fine. She said, if you had symptoms like shortness of breath or palpitations, I would send you across the street right now, which is across the street is Boca Regional Hospital. She said, I want you to see a cardiologist. Okay. So now, mind you, I'm walking around without insurance, okay, not knowing it. I'm starting to discover it now because I'm looking for doctors, and I'm finding that there's a discrepancy with my insurance. She sends me to another doctor who, a cardiologist. This is a second opinion. And he corroborates. He says, if you don't have this surgery, you're going to be dead in 3 years. His exact words. Okay, well, the truth is that I really didn't get upset. I mean, I don't get nervous about those things. I have Jesus on my side. I have the Holy Spirit there. I mean, I've never had any problems. I'm really kind of cocky about this, and I'm really not worried. Anyway, when I went home, now I'm really recognizing that if I need to go for of course I'm not going to neglect myself. But what started to worry me was the fact that I didn't have insurance. Here they're telling me I need a heart replacement, a heart valve replacement. I don't have insurance. So that's when I started to get very frightened. And now I'm not as calm anymore. It's really not so much the diagnosis that was upsetting me, it was the fact that I didn't have insurance. I don't have insurance. How come I have insurance? Anyways, it turned out that was the reason, and my boyfriend Pat says, we'll get Medicare back, you probably says here you can have it back, get your Medicare back in January. All right, well, in January. Meanwhile, I'm supposed to be now paying attention to this. Anyway, later that day, I started to experience pains in the back of my legs, really, and now what the heck is this all about? And it starts to become excruciating. And I Google it, and I realize that according to what I'm Googling is that I have a sciatica. I never had sciatica. I mean, but it was like it was really becoming, much more intense. So that night I go to, and not only that, what started to worry me about that is that I have my granddaughter's wedding this weekend. I have to fly to Albany and go to, it's a whole big deal, really. And now I'm not even, now I'm worried about the fact that, this wedding to go to. So now I have this insurance thing to deal with. I have this heart stenosis thing to, this, the heart, uh, they call it, aortic stenosis. And I also now am having severe pains in the back of my legs. And now I got to tell you, I have my gown for the wedding. I want to wear these shoes. Okay, these shoes that go with my gown. Okay, I can't get my foot in the shoe, and I go to sleep that night, and I fall asleep, and and I'm managing to, I've managed to fall asleep, but I wake up at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm terrified. This is when it really looms big in the middle of the night. Well, so what do I do when I'm really desperate? I go to the computer, as I've done many times in the past, and I write to Jesus, write a letter to Jesus, asking what I should do. And look, this is the letter I wrote, and I dated it. It's dated September 5th. This is the letter I write. Dear Jesus, I know I need not be fearful with you by my side, but you have shown me in countless ways that you are always with me and you never let me fall. Here is a situation that frightens me because I do not have adequate medical insurance and I need a valve replacement. Please tell me what I need to hear. I am terrified. And of course, I sit there and then I wait for the answer, and this is what comes through. Dearest Myrna, usually it's Dear Myrna or whatever, but this time this is how it came through. Your love is what connects me to you. Your loving kindness brings freedom from worry. Let me hold you and tell you that you are not alone. Knowing this, how can you be afraid? Need I say more? And then I put a little, love Jesus, and then I put a little, another little sentence in. Can you fix the pain in the back of my legs? Okay, that was the next sentence. And the answer is yes. Okay, all right. With that, I have to tell you, the fear just dissipated. It just left me. I was not fearful. I went to sleep. I slept the rest of the night. I slept comfortably. Great. I wake up the next morning, 8:30, the telephone rings. It's my boyfriend, Pat. And he says, I have somebody from Medicare on the phone. She gets on the phone with me, the three-way conversation. She said, I just heard what happened. She said, don't worry about it. We can get your Medicare back on October 1st. This happens a lot because people are misled, and you were misled, obviously. Yes, I was. And you'll have your Medicare back by October 1st. Fine. Okay, I'm very happy about that. She gives me extensive information. She gives me a case number. All right. Telephone number in case I need it, but I'll have my Medicare card on October 1st. And so then, okay, now I hang up with her and I go to the computer and I call Dr. Hirsch to figure out, well, what am I going to do about this? Now I have this sciatica. I called Dr. Hirsch's office. He helped me a couple of years ago when I had pain in my neck. I had a problem with my neck, and I got a couple of shots. He gave me cortisone, and that helped. Now I called Dr. Hirsch's office, and I need an appointment like tomorrow, now. So the receptionist says, well, Dr. Hirsch can't see you for another 2 weeks. So I said, 2 weeks? I can't wait 2 weeks. I'm going to die of pain. I'm going to a wedding this weekend. I'm supposed to be going to my granddaughter's wedding. So she says, well, I don't know. She said, will you take one of our other doctors, one of our resident doctors? So I didn't even know they had resident doctors. Okay, really? So I said, yeah, sure. She said, let me see. So she hems and haws and looks, and she says, you know what? Wait. She said, Dr. Capello, I just got a cancellation. Could you be here tomorrow at 10:45? Yeah, I can be there tomorrow at 10:45. Of course. Anyway, the next day I go to the doctor's office. This Dr. Capello was wonderful, a lovely young woman. She showed me pictures of her son, who's 5 years old, and showed me pictures that he drew. I mean, she made me feel very comfortable. She takes an X-ray. She said, yeah, she shows me where the inflammation is. I can give you a couple of cortisone shots right here. She shows me where the cortisone shots are going to be, both in my back. Okay, great. Okay. She gives me the shots. I'm feeling perfect. I mean, I could have run. I mean, I get off the table and I have no pain. Everything's fine. Okay, now, so that now was dissipated as well. Then I go to play mahjong. Okay. And now this mahjong group has grown. Some of the women I know well, some of them I don't know that well, but it's like 8 of us play mahjong. Turns out one of the women didn't show up the week before because her husband was having surgery. Okay, I didn't know, husband was having surgery, so she didn't come to the mahjong game. Anyway, the following week when I was there, after all this had transpired, uh, everybody's running over to her. How's your husband? She's feeling wonderful. So I said to her, what kind of surgery did he have? She said he had a valve replacement surgery. I said, really? How is he doing? She said, oh my God, I have to tell you, this doctor is amazing. His name is Dr. Lamaris. He's the best doctor there is. She says, would you believe he, and she's so exuberant about it. She said he went to the hospital on Friday and he's home on Monday. He's fabulous. And with that, another woman, okay, from another table pipes up with, I know that doctor. My brother was operated by that doctor. Yeah, he had the same surgery. He's wonderful. He's like the leading doctor in the whole world. Anyway, she sends me the information, okay. And let me just tell you what she says about this doctor. I just have to read this and then, okay. Hi, Myrna. My husband had aortic replacement surgery by this doctor. He's one of the leaders in the world. He's made his own surgical devices for this. He has one wing at University of Miami. Lois's brother also had surgery with this doctor. And she sends me all the information. So now everything happened within the course of a few days, got my insurance back. What I'm trying to bring out, and the reason that I relate this, is that we know that when these are miracles that just keep transpiring. But the only way to really manifest a miracle is to let go of fear. And that is really, I think, was what the key was when I kind of let go of the fear and was able to now kind of, I was completely in a different frequency. And, I mean, and everything is I mean, I just can't get over, okay? And I keep thinking about that, all that has transpired and how everything worked out because of the connection, because of the belief in connecting to a spiritual energy that is connected to God. You can speak to Jesus, you can speak to Holy Spirit, you can speak to the man in the moon. As long as it's connected to God, that's how I feel. And and I've had miracles like this in the past, but I just really wanted to share this whole thing, all within 4 days. So that's that.
Thank you so much, Myrna. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And yes, why wouldn't it be one right after the other, after the other, after the other, if we are a miracle minded, living in the truth of reality? Just because we live in a world where we think we're a body and we think that things can go wrong with the body, and we think that we have to worry about who's going to pay or how we're going to, all of those things are the stories that the ego is telling us about our condition. And what you've shown us is that who walks with me, I may walk through the valley of the shadow of death, but thou art with me. And no matter where we are, what we're doing, God is with us everywhere in everything all the time. So of course, he's right there, you are in his loving arms, and he's not letting you go. No, he's not letting you, and he wants you to know. That's so beautiful. And that you could just write a Jesus a letter, and then he would write a letter back to you.
Oh,
I'm
that's how I communicate with you.
I'm
That's how private lessons with Jesus came about that way.
Oh, I
So,
know it.
so I have that, I'm used to that, that letter writing stuff, but I haven't done it in a long time. But I resorted to that out of desperation, and it shouldn't be out of desperation. It should be all the time. It really should be out of just, a constant thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
they,
the
yeah.
communication is there anyway. I mean, I get answers without letter writing. So it doesn't necessarily have to be in that way, but that's how it worked out this time.
Yeah,
So
he's going to give you what you can understand and what will help you. And that you have it on a piece of paper is like, psh, here it is.
yeah.
Karen, go ahead, Karen.
Wow, Myrna, thank you so much. What an amazing story. And I just love your dedication and your trust and just your ability to just really listen. First I want to share, does anyone know what the word octogenarian means? And don't look it up. Octogenarian.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
it means you're 80 years old.
Yeah, anyone between the ages of 80 and 89 is an octogenarian, is an octogenarian. So you and Dove are the only two octogenarians here. And I think that it's amazing for you. First of all, I can't even believe that you're 83. Not that it matters. I mean, it's just a number, but you always inspired me, and you always do inspire me with your energy and your positivity and just your faith and your trust. And that I noticed when you were talking about this, I think last week you mentioned this, and you immediately were like, you don't want any parts of surgery, you just knew that this was not for you, and you just and I think that we always, the ego does speak for us, last it thinks it knows. And when we're ready to just step back and trust, and you ask Jesus like you do, and all the answers came to you perfectly, like beautifully. It's so in sync and so perfect. And that trust that you just demonstrated the trust. And wow.
Well, I have to add that I was prepared to do nothing. I really was. I figured Jesus, has always taken care of me, and I am asymptomatic. I don't feel anything. I'm fine. And I was going to go that route. But I think what happened was when these doctors' names came to me, that was the answer. That was what I needed to hear. Jesus definitely wants me to go for the surgery because this is how it came about. I didn't look for a doctor. I wasn't, it just happened. What are the chances that two people, okay, that had the same surgery just happened to tell me about it? I mean, that's what the miracle is. Well, that's what I'm trying to get at. The miracle is that we always get the answer. And in fact, I have an appointment with this doctor. I'm seeing him next Wednesday. Anyway, but that's really what it is. You'll get the answer, whatever it should be. And so anyway, so I just wanted to add that.
And actually, and Rafi has his hand up. Go ahead, Rafi.
You left one out. Rafi is 85.
Oh, you're an octogenarian, huh?
Oh, sorry, Rafi. I didn't see you. You weren't on camera at the time.
Yep. Out of sight, out of mind. Okay. Brooklyn, go ahead.
Myrna, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's so beautiful. You stepped back and let him lead the way, and
Yeah,
you knew you needed nothing.
that's what happened, really. Yeah. No,
Thank you.
and who better can I discuss this with this group? I can't tell this to a friend that I own insurance. I mean, this is too personal. But anyway, this is great, really.
Thank you.
It was great opening up about this.
Regis.
All right, thanks. Thank you, Lynn, and thank you, Myrna. And I thank you for the honesty in walking us through the emotional part of it. That's powerfully meaningful to me. I think, and in the whole story, I never heard you try to quote the Course in Miracles or try to quote this person and this thing and that thing. But because we the first thing I hear a lot of us do is, oh, I'm not supposed to be fearful. I know the Course in Miracles say this, you know, and that's really not the way you walk through something. You know, because as you already going through that issue, you beating yourself up now with the Course in Miracles say. And I just love your honesty. Just say, hey, God, I'm scared shitless. you know, you know, so I mean, and that's where we gotta, that is to me as awakened as we get. That to me is just as awakened and in the presence of God as it gets. And just that honesty, and that's acceptance. This is what it is. It ain't what the Course in Miracles say I should be. Right now, I'm scared. you know, and when you can come to the divine like that, that's just a total setup for a miracle. That's a total setup for peace. That's a total setup for happiness. Thank you, Myrna.
Thank you, Regis. Thank you.
Yeah, anybody else? Go ahead, Myrna.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Yes. So yeah, exactly as you're all saying here. It is really, as we were talking earlier today, that um what we are is God expressing in life, in the world, where we are. Myrna, you are an expression of God. I see it every time I see you. You just shine so brightly, and I know that you may think, well, I doubt very much that you think so much that you're having to do this because of your body and your health and your life, but in reality, what you are is bringing life and joy into places where there is a need for life and joy. I know that doctor is going to be delighted by you. I know everyone who works with that doctor is going to be enlightened by your presence. I know that when you go into the hospital and go into that surgical arena, everything there is going to be blessed by you because of what you are and because of who you are. This is the gift that we give by being that open person, that trusting, open, and just allowing person. Because yes, I know something about Myrna. You've said many times, I don't like to go to the doctor. I'm not interested in my health. I don't want to, I mean, like, I'm not worried. I'm not afraid. That's the Myrna that I'm always hearing. And so to hear Myrna saying, I'm willing to submit to these things. I'm willing to put myself into this position. You're allowing the Holy Spirit to insert you into places where you need to be and
But
to
we all have the
let his
power.
spirit where he is. Go on.
We all have that. We all have that ability to do that. Every one of us, every soul, can reach out and really harness that amazing energy that's ours to have and to hold. It's there. I mean, I love it. I have such great love. Well, the go-to person for me is Jesus. I mean, this guy, I just have such love. Okay, and I feel it, and yes, am I going to forget and feel frightened? I mean, to me, everything seems so insurmountable, and that it was just it was piling up on me, and I didn't understand it, and I said, wait a minute. And then I'm glad I resorted to that. I knew I had to get rid of the fear. How do I get rid of the fear? How do I get back to sleep? Okay, I had to do something. This is what I did, reaching out, Jesus. And then the words, how can you be afraid? I mean, is he lying? Not lying to me, telling me that I shouldn't be afraid. This is what I'm hearing. This is what I'm feeling, and I just want to just impress upon that. Don't ever feel fearful about anything because there's nothing to be afraid of. And I each time something happens, I'm more in tune with that. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why you're here. That's why you're here. Karen has her hand up, and then Sharon. Go ahead, Karen. And then Rafi.
Thank you, Lynn, and thank you, Myrna, again. When you asked Jesus, I like the answer that you got, that he said that you are not alone. You know, when you said that, what came to me was, I will never leave you comfortless. I will never leave you comfortless. And what you just said about fear is so important because we make fear up. You know, we make it up. And this recently happened to me. I have surgery coming up for my knee. I'm getting a knee replacement October 10th. And the doctor that I saw, I wasn't really thrilled with, even though he went to Harvard, he has 5 stars, he's very respected, he's a really, really good surgeon in every way, shape, and form, but I just didn't like his bedside manner. So when I got home, I was thinking about this other doctor that my girlfriend had told me about, and he did both of her hips, and she said how excellent he was. And I had seen him in 2021 for knee surgery, but chickened out. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to see him. I really liked him. Well, he's far, he's much farther. I called him, I made the appointment and everything. And out of fear, out of not thinking really clearly and of my own will and not just stepping back. And I thought, you know, I know what's best. Well, after I sat there and I thought about it, I sat with it and I wasn't at peace, you know, because I'm thinking, oh, I got to drive really far, you know, I got to go to another hospital that's farther. And it's just, it's a lot, you know, it's a lot more that I have to deal with. And this guy, I have to trust, you know, I have to trust that this guy was brought to me and he's perfect. He's not what I expected, but they are my expectations. That doesn't mean he's not a good doctor. So I let everything go and now I'm at peace with it. I know it's the right thing and I'm trusting, and I trust that the fear I made up, I made it all up. And I don't have to do that. We don't have to be in fear. So thank you for that reminder.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
And you know what? I think you really have to connect with a doctor. I realize that if a doctor doesn't have good bedside manner, somehow when you don't feel that connection, I realize that how important that is. When I went to this doctor for the cortisone, I mean, I immediately connected with this doctor. It was such a nice, I had so much faith in her. No matter what she was going to do, I was going to trust in it because I liked her. The connection was there. So it's good. Travel a little further, but if you have a better, a nice rapport with a doctor who's got, that connection with you, then you'll do anything he says because you trust him.
Well, actually, I'm not going to travel. I'm going to stick with the guy that doesn't have the best bedside manner. And I'm actually going to trust because I wasn't at peace. My point is that just because someone has the good bedside manner doesn't always mean he's the better doctor. So I can't always say, I thought that before. See, I thought that before. It was what I thought, what I believed, but I wasn't really at peace with my decision. So I had to trust, I was getting, the peace was coming from just let all things be. Don't try to change anything. And only what I'm not giving can be lacking in any situation, with the course says that. And that's something that I really thought about too, because if I thought something was lacking, I could have asked him questions about, the things that I was wishing he would have done. The main thing is he didn't look at my MRI, and that was a big deal to me. I could have said, well, could you look at my MRI? Could we go over it together? But when he looked at my x-ray, he was like, I look at your x-ray and I see you need the surgery. I can just tell by your x-ray. Like, he didn't feel like he needed to even look at my MRI. So, sometimes I have to just let go of my expectations and trust that everything's perfect.
I want to add that yes, maybe, bedside manner is not enough. Of course not. But obviously you're with a doctor you trust. That's all that's all that counts. You're with somebody that you trust and you'll do whatever he says because you trust him. Some doctors I never trusted doctors, truthfully. Very few, maybe that's the problem. So anyway, good luck with that.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Myrna. Sharon, go ahead.
First, I want to see, or you can hear me good, because sometimes this computer doesn't work. Myrna, what you shared is so beautiful and helpful. And then I saw that you had a podcast. Not only do you have a book, but you have a podcast, right?
Well, the podcast was before Gather, they had Gather. I was doing a podcast, yes.
Oh, I gotta
And I
listen
was
to them. That's so
interviewing people.
awesome.
Yeah, one of the people that I interviewed was Rob Schwartz. He came on my podcast, and a couple of other people.
Oh my God. And I love your I have your book.
Which
Like
book?
I think, not the novel, but the one,
Oh, good, not the novel. Good. I'm glad you didn't get that yet, because the novel I sent back because I wasn't happy with the way it was formatted, the latest book. So I was hoping that nobody ordered it yet, because it's gonna, now there's I was not happy with the outcome of the book, so I sent it back. So I'm sort of hush hush about it. But when that book comes out, I'm going to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the book I got on Kindle because I have too many books. So I just got it on Kindle. But I want to say this, it's so helpful for course students to read that book, because everything it's what Rafi had said, divinely
Which book are you
protected,
talking
divinely
about?
guided,
Okay, which book?
Private Lessons with Jesus.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I have a few books.
Oh, I didn't know that.
This is like my seventh, actually sixth book, but I had two, two children's books, but the others were, the last one is the first novel, which
Wow.
anyway.
Thank you for sharing that with us. It really gives us strength.
Thank you.
Because the bottom line is that we are protected always divinely. I love what Rafi wrote, divinely protected, divinely guided. We think it's the ego. The ego is just a separation tool, but we know when we're being, and what Karen you shared was perfect too. Because who are we don't know, like the ego in us like might not like someone's bedside manner, and then again the person could be a great doctor. So
Right.
you really have to just allow it all to come in, and you're always taken care of. So thank you, Myrna. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for the post. Thank you, Dove. Love is about trust. Yes. Synchronicity. Wow. Octogenarians. Yeah. There's a whole thing about octogenarians here. I have to look into that.
Yeah, it's coming September 22nd at John Mundy Sunday with Monday. Has Carol Howe. He has me and Diane Gusick, who some of you may know. She's in charge of the translation program for. She's in charge of the translation program for FIP.
Oh, okay.
So that looks like it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So September 22nd. So, all right, very good. I just put it up so people can see.
Thanks.
All right. So let's see who else. Rafi has his hand up, and then Brooklyn. Go ahead, Rafi.
Yeah, I just want to double back to something that Regis said about acknowledging the fear. It's vital, because the first reaction to fear, usually for most people, is I don't like it. I can't stand it. This is not good. So the first thing they do, they're either going to suppress it or they're going to try to escape from it. Some people express it. That's not so bad. The best thing you can do is acknowledge it, welcome it, welcome it, welcome it, love it, and then allow it to leave, because that's what it came up to do in the first place. And as soon as you do that, you're in charge, and that ego mentality of the victim is pushed out of the picture completely, and you've taken charge. Who's the boss? I'm the boss. Am I going to let fear beat me? Am I going to let a feeling run me? I don't think so. Okay, so love the fear. Yes, fear. Yes, fear. I love it. I love you. I love you. I love you. And now I'm letting you go, and letting you go, and letting you go. And then it's gone. And then you're right back into being, the peace and the quiet that follows that is what's there all the time anyway. And that's the reality. So again, you can't identify with thoughts, you can't identify with feelings, otherwise they win and you wind up in that loser's position. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Life. You're supposed to do that with illnesses too, whether it be cancer, whether it be heart, if you have cancer, instead of being afraid of it, I love you, I love you, I love you, and let go of it.
Is there anything more powerful than love? No. Is that the reality of our being? Is that God? Yes. What better thing to depend on?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, I thought I forgot I muted myself. The fact is that the body is really a tool. It's a communication device. It's not a thing for us to depend on or defend or to fix or to. It really is just a thing for us to use for whatever purpose the Holy Spirit has for us. So as long as it's useful, and as long as we make it useful by being willing to use it the way that it's supposed to be being used, it will be healthy. And Jesus tells us that. So it's not it's not unhealthy to need a new part on your heart. Just like it's not unhealthy to need a new tire when your tires wear out. It's a machine and it's to be used. Brooklyn, please go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much, Myrna. Synchronicity, that's definitely where it's at. And the way everything happened, your legs were hurting and you were supposed to go to the wedding, you couldn't fit in the shoe. And it reminds me of Khalil Gibran of the prophet. The deeper sorrow carves in you, the more joy you can contain.
Yeah, but the wedding is this Friday. It's a weekend wedding, actually. So I'm leaving on Friday and I'm returning Sunday. So now I can go to the wedding. I can wear my dress and my shoes. No worries, feeling good. I'm very happy. So thank you. I'll take pictures,
Oh, please. Everything fit. Even
everything fit. Right. That's a good word. It's fit, right. It's like a puzzle, right? Yeah.
Dancing at a
I
wedding.
love you, Brooklyn.
I love you.
I love it. Anybody else have anything that they want to share?
Yeah. Ego doesn't understand the size of things. So whether it's needing a heart valve replacement or something that happened to me yesterday, which was so trivial, ego takes it on as if it was the same catastrophic event. It was a simple thing. I was at the club where we sing every Monday, and I had already done my songs and some poetry and things, and I went through everybody else. There was 8 or 10 people there that were singing. And then when it got around to me again, the MC called me up, and as I was walking up, she said, "No, I'm sorry, you can't sing. I realized we've run out of time." Well, my mind turned that into World War IV. Okay, how dare I? And I looked at it and I thought, gee, that's one of the best triggers I can. It's so simple, it's so insignificant. And yet it turned it into this horrific thing. And so I got a chance to first thank in my mind, thank the MC for pulling that trigger for me and let it go and let it go. It could have been a heart valve transplant. It could have been you can't sing now. It could have been somebody cut you off on the freeway. It could be your baby is sick. The ego it can't discriminate between how big it is. Everything is enormous to it. And once you get to see that, then all of a sudden you can pull back and be the witness of it and go, okay, what's this here for? This is here for me to get to freedom, to be realized, to wake up, to get to the truth of my infinite, to be the oneness. Okay, that's what everything is here for. Let's put it in proper perspective. And so there it is. That's what your heart valve was. That's what that MC telling me was yesterday. That's what everything is for. And could it be more perfect? No.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And just a little upset like that, maybe you didn't even want to sing, but being told no, I know that happens to me sometimes, whether I want to or not, I don't like to hear the word no. So, that will trigger some real negativity. And, the point of it is that, it's always a choice, always a choice, always a choice. And when you choose forgiveness, you choose to let go, that's that's all we're being asked to do. You don't even have to live through the problem. Once you said yes to the solution, it's done. That's what's so beautiful about it, because it was done already. Karen, please go ahead.
Exactly, Lynn. The course says, I'm trying to think the exact words because it's exactly what you just said. Ask the Holy Spirit. How does he say it? It's I forget exactly, but they ask the Holy Spirit, say to the Holy Spirit, decide for me, and it is done. That's the exact quote in the course. So exactly what you just said. But what I wanted to share, what Rafi said, okay, so yes, the ego always sees everything as big. It speaks first and loudest, and it sees everything as a problem. And that is why the ego and the Holy Spirit are diametrically opposed. So the Holy Spirit also sees everything the same. But the Holy Spirit sees no hierarchy of illusions, and the Holy Spirit sees no order of difficulty and miracles. Every single problem is the same. It's one problem and one answer. And so what's coming to me right now is in chapter, and this is about fear too. In fear and conflict, in chapter 2, he says, the correction is always the same. Before you choose to do anything, ask me if your choice is in accord with mine. And if you are sure that it is, there will be no fear. So you knew as soon as you asked Jesus, when Jesus said, you are not alone, you know, you knew that there was no fear. There's nothing to fear. You are not alone. And every time I ask the Holy Spirit, it's the same feeling. I know that it's perfect. And I know that my fear is a story that I made up. And I keep needing to be reminded, you know, because it still happens. So thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Has
and we have,
anybody,
oh, I just want to say we have some wise octogenarians here tonight.
Yeah.
yeah, Brooklyn, are you aware of this picture of you?
Oh, I posted that in Facebook.
Oh, very good.
Sent me them.
Why don't we post it to Lynn if you can for everybody?
This photograph here,
Yeah, it's Lynn.
it is?
No.
That
Wait,
doesn't look like her at
wait. It
all.
says Lynn Brooklyn.
No, that's my name. That's my account name on Facebook.
That's
But then, okay.
doesn't look anything like Liz. Could have fooled me.
Wait. I mean, the post is on ACIM Gathers Facebook page,
Uh-huh.
and it says Lynn Brooklyn. I understand it doesn't look like you, but it could look like you under certain conditions, you know, like what they do
She
in a
was
photo
200
gallery.
years old.
Yeah.
That's how you're gonna look when you're 200, sweetie.
No, I posted it because it had something very good to say. I forgot what
There's something very angelic about her, very divine, a lot of light. That's the way I see it. You know,
Yeah,
it
she
doesn't
looks
have
like
to
one
look
of,
like form. I see light.
she looks like one of the people that were at that workshop I was at this last week, because we had ladies from Norway and Sweden, and definitely that looks like like that type of person. And wow, that was a bunch of bright lights too. That I met up with there in Scotland. But anyway, I thought maybe that was one of those ladies, and but she's lovely. You're lovely. Anybody else have anything that they want to share?
Could you tell us a little bit more about Scotland?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I didn't hear much about that.
No, well, I talked a little bit about it the other day. It was just an amazing experience. It was, first off, I've never um been I don't know if I so consistently cold and wet. But it was very damp there, and and it was quite chilly, and I'm really glad that they said bring layers of clothes because you definitely needed to add things on. So it was really chilly, but it was really the air was so clean, and the water was just wonderful. Everything was just so wonderful there. Um, the place that we went, Findhorn, some people know about it. It's a really mystical place in the Scottish Highlands. It's just off it's called Findhorn Bay, and it's in northern Scotland. So it was very cold, lots of rain, but the place itself was built kind of in the 60s. Um, when people began to they set up as kind of an eco village, or it was sort of like a commune, I think, in the early days. And their purpose was to practice natural, like organic gardening, and everything was just natural. Uh, the whole place is like a big garden. It's like every house had a garden, vegetables, flowers. There were little fruit trees with uh, with fruits on. I mean, just filled with fruits, and everything that you had. If we had currant jam, or different things that were made from the stuff that was grown there, and it just was really a lovely, lovely place. And uh, so what we did was we would have in the morning have breakfast, and then we would get together in this hall, and in the hall then we would do different activities, as there was singing, there was dancing. They brought in musicians. The first day we had a master piper who came in and played the bagpipes, and you'll see all the photographs when I get them downloaded. People are just sitting there with their hands over their ears because these bagpipes were so loud in this hall, but it was really, really cool to hear it. And then Mandy was there, and she came with her accordion. So she played her accordion, and we danced, and it was just really cool singing. They had a couple of different people come and teach us songs and chants and dances, and all these different things. Just this beautiful artistic expression that was just flowing out of everybody who was there, was just having just a wonderful time. And it were 44 people. Mainly they were the translators of A Course of Love, and Choose Only Love, and the Age of the Heart, all of the books that Glenn uh,
Glenn
published.
Hope.
Yeah, Glenn Hoverman publishes. So they were all these different people that they were all people who had an actual affinity for the material, and so they were able to interpret and express it in a way that didn't lose the meaning, which is really a hard thing to do when you have spiritual literature. That's one of the things that the Course in Miracles translation department is constantly looking for: people who can actually translate not just the words, but the actual meaning of what is being said. So all of these people were mystical. They had visions. They saw and spoke with Mother Mary, angels. There were just, story upon story upon story of divine intervention. Just like your story now, Myrna, same kind of thing. Everyone had some wonderful experiences, and that's what we did. We sang, we danced, we ate, we talked, and we would sit in a big circle, and everyone would just spoke and talked about whatever it was that was inspiring to them, or visions that they had had, or conversations they'd had with Jesus or Mary. Just you know, had an experience. So many. I had an experience, and I haven't talked about this really, and it's not so much the Course of Miracles territory, but I had a vision at one point that I was Jesus's grandmother, and I saw the life of Jesus, my grandson, my daughter, raising this baby, loving this baby, seeing him as he grew, and his whole life. I saw it all in a vision. It was very short, but it was really long, and I don't even know how to explain it. But it's like I had all these memories of this life of being Jesus's grandmother. And I never really talked about it to anybody. I never say anything to anybody about it, just because it just kind of sounds, strange and outlandish. And people will say, well, whatever they say, and I don't care. I guess I do to some extent, but that's always, it's been a part of my life. And the voice of Anna, Jesus's grandmother, has always spoken to me since I was like 12 years old. Because I went to a Catholic school, and at school, when you get to be around 11 or 12, they start warning you about, being a bad girl and stay out of trouble and be good and whatever. So they showed us a movie called Sally and Saint Anne. And the story was that this girl, Sally, was a Catholic girls' school girl, and she was starting to go a little bad. And so Jesus's grandmother, Saint Anne, came to her and gave her, a kind of a talking to, and, explained to her why it was so important for her to be good and not to get into trouble. And um, after that movie, that actually became like a voice in my head that I was always hearing Saint Anne telling me, do this or don't do that, or I was going to get in trouble, or this, and really guided me. And I've always had this voice in my head of Saint Anne guiding me. So, but I never said anything to anybody about it, because it's it's a kind of a personal thing, and it also sounds cuckoo. So to most people. Okay, so I walking around in Findhorn the first day, before everything began, I ran into this gentleman with a backpack, who was hiking around, and he was an older guy, and uh, we we stood, we saw each other, and we just stood and stared into each other's eyes. I never said a word, just stood and stared into each other's eyes for like, many seconds, a long time, longer than you would normally just look at a stranger. But looking right into each other's eyes, like we knew each other. And so, it just was just an experience. And so, we said hello and whatever, and he kept going his way and I kept going my way. And so I decided to stop at the little cafe and have some tea. So I stopped at the little cafe, and lo and behold, here comes this gentleman. And he sat down by me, and and he got his tea and his what he was eating, and we began talking. And he said to me, he said, "Did you know that Jesus's grandmother Anna was here in Findhorn? Jesus's grandmother Anna came here. Did you know that?" And I was like, "What?" And he said, "Yes, and you were here, and we were Essenes together, and we came here together." And he began telling me this whole story. And I was like, How would you know this person in my head? How would you know this? It was like he really did know. And he said, do you know that there are books? I didn't say anything. This did not come, none of this came from me at all. He brought it all up. He said, do you know that there are books? And he said, you have to get these books, you have to read these books, you have to know what your life was because you were here and we were here together. We were Essenes and we traveled here to Scotland together. And it just blew me away. I was like, he was not in the group. He had nothing to do with, our organization, nothing at all. He had just come there for the day to hike and just impart this amazing, astounding thing to me. That was something that just really, kind of blew me away, and I was very shocked about it. Later, I mentioned something about this gentleman and we talked about, and everybody was like, oh, Anna, oh, Anna, you were her. I can see. And I mean, they were like convincing me. How anyone would have known that story and how anyone would have, how that could have been it just blew me away. Uh, but I experienced it. So now I have to get those books because because I never saw those books before, but everybody knew, everybody knew. It was just shocking to me. So that was one thing that happened that was just, beyond normal to me, just beyond normal. Um, and I don't talk about having mystical experiences because again, I think uh I just think people will think I'm cuckoo, but that was one that just I'll never forget. And I know he told me, you read these books, you will remember. And so I'm going to get those books and see if I remember because I don't think that there is any one person who was any one person. I think we all have that joint memory of expression, like because we're one mind. And maybe that was something that I was focused on. And so that's why I'm so focused on being a grandmother and being a mother and that whole motherhood thing is so huge in me, is because that's kind of a universal role that I've taken on. Uh, I kind of feel like I'm y'all's mother. I feel very motherly toward this group and everybody here. Um, Even though most of you are the same or older than me, it doesn't matter. I just feel that uh, maternal love of all of you. So anyway, that was something that happened. There was lots of other things, but that was the first thing that just totally blew me away. So besides the guys that saved us the night before on the train, but that was a whole different story too, and I'll talk about that some other time. I think some of you heard that story already. So anyway, our time is up.
Is
Yeah.
anybody watching the debate tonight? Is the big debate?
Oh,
Anybody interested?
I'm hoping I'm thinking to watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, be interesting, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, if we do watch it with the heart of love
Yes,
and knowing that, asking in the Holy Spirit, because, I think everybody needs that. Everybody needs it. So I'll
yes,
be interested to see what's said though.
yeah,
But
If we're for or against anything, we've got work to do.
that's right.
yes.
That's right.
Don't see everybody as an expression of God's love. We got work to do.
We got work to do. That's right. That's right. And I'm for peace. So, yep. Peace, baby. All right, you guys, I love you all. See you all.
Love you. Thanks.
Oh,
for-
I gotta go get a root canal.
Thanks, Myrna. Thanks,
Thank
Lynn.
you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone. This
Oh,
was
everyone.
Myrna,
nice.
God bless, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Really, no kidding. I love you all so much.
Love
Yeah,
us so much.
I got 2 broken teeth. The dentist told me these teeth are gonna break. We're gonna have to fix them. We'll fix them when you come back from Scotland. No, I broke both of them. So tomorrow morning I get to go get a root canal. So that'll be fun. All right, you guys, I'll talk to you later.
Big hugs, everybody.
Hugs, yes.
Bye-bye.